2. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of TnT Knows It All Sports. I'm your host, Tye, and over on my side over here is the co-host.
What's going on? What's terrible wild card weekend? I was gonna say All-Star weekend. That's in a few weeks. But,
Yeah,
yeah,
divisional
man.
round. Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
We've
Rough.
been a rough 2 weeks for TnT football teams, but it's all right. Football's getting close to being over soon, which I put me out
Yeah,
my misery at that point.
right.
So got a kind of packed episode. Not as many games to talk about as we start to dwindle down in the NFL. We'll recap the wild card round, and then we will discuss do a little quick preview of the championship games that are happening this week. And then we'll finish off, even though it's a football episode, we'll finish off with some basketball. We got a couple things I gotta say, as you know, to help some people that aren't in basketball start transitioning into basketball. But I'm very upset at some of the things that are going on in basketball. So I got some stuff to say. Anyway, yeah. So let's get to this recap of the wild card round. So,
What?
um,
What?
yeah. So I'll
Uh,
just, you know what? We'll start off with the game, man. The game, it was Mahomes versus Allen is what they said, even though really it was football teams, the Bills and Chiefs in at Highmark Stadium.
right.
Um, and the Chiefs won 27-24. So I'm gonna turn it over to you, man. Uh,
Yeah, I was. I was, as they say, on was that first thing first. I was burning the midnight oil, watching the all 22. Kurt Warner also does a great. If you guys don't follow Kurt Warner, such a smart guy. I don't know why he's not a coach, like a OC, and maybe eventually head coach. But I get it. He's probably getting paid well as an analyst on NFL Network.
mhm.
But he does a 1 hour and a couple other people. But what I like to do is watch the all 22. I did it last week with the Pittsburgh Steelers, so I'm actually going to talk about that in a second too. But Pittsburgh Steelers, the Bills, and then I watch these different podcasts that give you summary because sometimes some of the formations they know a little bit more than I do, so I educate myself.
Yeah.
But I do want to start about there's so many directions I want to go into. So, but there are notes I wrote and I was going to put in a group chat. Ty, you know which group chat. Um,
Yep.
but just watching it, I'll give you a few notes and I'll deep dive. Josh Allen played overall well. I mean, he had 16 checkdowns, the most he's had all year. So he
Right.
wasn't pressing. I
Mhm.
watched the game, guys, and I reviewed it like 17 times. Some of the plays, literally reviewed it. Just because I don't want to make sure I was tripping, but I didn't even know Trent Sherfield even played until he dropped. He was so awful. I mean, the guy can't get any separation.
Yeah.
Brady's calling too many bunch plays. People weren't getting open.
Yeah.
So he was ineffective. Diggs, worst PFF score as a wide receiver in his career at 45.6. And
Mm.
when you watch the game, guys, I mean, sorry, I love Diggs, but he did not show up or play well.
Yeah.
First play of the game, he fumbled the ball. He
Yes.
should have went. If you actually watch the tape, he should have went to the left.
Yeah, I
He
was
didn't went to
wondering
the
why
right.
I don't know why I swear it's funny you said I was during the game. I was like, "What were you doing? Why did you go that way?"
Yeah,
Uh,
he he was running routes. He had a couple of choice routes. Just he wasn't getting the space. He did not look good. I mean, that drop ball, yeah, it's a drop ball, tough 65 yards, but you want to be all pro, right? What's crazy about that play, I'm going to talk about in a second because I do want to talk about my last note, but the defense was struggled. I get injuries,
mhm.
but that was terrible. I mean, absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
And it kind of, if you guys don't recall the Chargers game, if the Chargers actually had a quarterback, they would have
Mhm.
beat the Bills, right? They scored
Right.
5 field goals. It's
Yeah.
like the tape was from that Chargers game. It just
Mm.
was awful, bro. It was absolutely awful.
Mm.
They were taking advantage of the middle,
Yeah.
just wrong matchups. It just with no, the line wasn't really getting as much pressure. Easton Stick was getting the ball out quickly. Patrick Mahomes getting the ball out 2.5 seconds, right? It was just bad. Dame Jackson, oh my God. Please don't re-sign him. Absolute atrocious.
Wow.
AJ Klein should have stuck to the RV. Micah Hyde, I appreciate all you do for Buffalo. Kind of heard your farewell from McDermott in the press conference. You look slow and old. You got to retire. It's sad to say that, but you didn't look good. You didn't look good. And the D line was a non-factor, underperforming, right? So, but I do want to talk about just a few drives, but I don't want to talk about a trend. I want to start with that last drive first and then the first drive, right? Okay. The reason why I want to start with the last drive because a lot of people talk about that. Right. But so the last drive what Buffalo had, people are forgetting that Josh Allen got him the first down on the 2 third downs. Literally got him. He actually willed it his way to get a first down, right? But the first play of the game, maybe this was told in Joe Brady's. I mean, Joe Brady told Josh Allen, "Hey, if Diggs has one-on-one with because they're playing 2 safety high, right? They're playing zone. So the Chiefs, just before I talk about it, the Chiefs play zone majority of the game, which they're not a zone team. They're a press man team because they have one of the best cornerbacks and one of the best slots. All pros, actually, both of them, Snead and Trent Humphreys. So they press man. But for some reason, I know why.
McDuffie? Trent McDuffie?
I'm sorry, Trent, what I said, Trent McDuffie.
You said Humphreys, but that's
yeah. So Trent McDuffie, right? So they play 2 safety high. And I know why. If you actually watch the tape, they have no respect for the Bills. They said no one can get open, and you guys are going to do what you did against Pittsburgh, which the tape showed Pittsburgh played a lot of man blitz. They were getting chewed apart in the middle when Kincaid, Dalton Knox. They said, "Nah." Spags like, "Nope. If you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us with dink and dunks, and we're going to make you like do 7-minute drives. We're going to play zone." 2-man safety high all freaking day. On that play, going back to that play, with that first down, I'm sorry, the first play of that drive. Yeah. Trent, if watch the tape, guys. So the play, Trent Sherfield, which I know why he probably didn't want to pass it because he probably dropped the ball. Did a 15-yard in a route, wide open in the middle, right at the 40-yard line, wide open, right? But Diggs did a fake hitch, and then went deep, beat Reed with the safety and threw the ball. Now the ball's going 65. It's harder. It's going 65 miles. 65 yards. Yeah. It's cold. It's night. You got to track it. But it hit Diggs in the hand, guys. I mean, that was I get it's a hard to catch, but you're all pro. You're all pro. You're a dog. You want the ball. That drops on you.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Well, before you go on, I mean, yes. These are NFL players, and these plays are not easy. But it wasn't like the ball was, like I said, like who would you blame in that play? Like who else could you blame? Do you blame Josh Allen for giving a handoff for 65 yards? Like literally in that condition? Right. Would you game the guy that didn't catch it? Like, yes, we can all like Diggs. I like him. I think he's a good player, just like I like CeeDee Lamb. But you got to make catches. They need you to make. This is a game for you to win. Make the play. Yeah, make the play.
Yeah, man. I mean, it hit him in his hands. He had Reed. That ball was perfectly thrown in the. I don't think people understand how hard that ball was to throw, how cold it was, and with the wind. We all saw Tyler Bass kick. It went this way because of the wind, right? I'm just saying. And if you look at the play, he had a flat route that he's been taking, right? And he had Trent Sherfield in the middle. He could have went to Trent, but remember, everyone's like, "Oh, we got to get Wise and Diggs getting involved in the offense. We got to get Diggs the ball." Everything else like that. The ball got to you, and see what happens, right?
Yep.
And then the rest of the drive. I mean, just to cut through, if you watch all 22, James Cook. I'm gonna write. I wrote it down, guys. -2 yards, -3, and 4. On that drive, he averaged one in last 2 drives, he averaged 1.8 yards a carry because they said, "F it, we're gonna blitz you," right? You saw some linebacker blitz or safety blitz, and people weren't getting open, but there was no separation. And if you actually watch in the tape, you can see I don't know these play calls were being called. They had 3 people bunched in, so it was easy for the Chiefs. They had 2 defenders. There were 3 people trying to do one doing a hitch, one doing an out choice route, another one doing it. And even Kurt Warner at the table was like, he kept on saying, I don't understand the concept here. I don't understand what they're trying to do here, right?
Right.
And so if you look at it, Josh Allen's kind of willing his way for a first down. Now, towards the end, we can make an argument, and you and I talked about this. So the first play, I'm talking when I said towards the end, I'm talking about the last 3 plays of that drive before Tyler Bass became Scott Norwood. The first play was a run.
It was a run, lost.
Yeah, a loss, and that's the -2 yards, right? So or -1. Sorry, -1 yard. It was 2nd and 11. Then the next one was a Shakir pass, right? So if you can see that. Diggs did, and this is where people don't understand in football, especially concepts. There's always going to be what we call a flat route, something that's going to be easy for the quarterback to dump, and sometimes an intermediate route, something easy, right? But as a quarterback, you have to make the choice, right? You got to make the choice that am I going to dump it or am I going to get short? Or if I see something open, a la Gabe Davis 2 years ago, same play, right? Same type of play. I'm going to get it to him, right? So Shakir breaks and goes open, and Josh Allen gets his foot stepped on. Now, we can make several arguments. Should he pass it to Diggs? Should he slid? Should have Deion Doxson did it, talking all that trash, drinking a monster drink? Could you block better Chris Jordan?
Yep.
Yeah, twice in that drive. The next play too.
Yep.
So that's where you're like, I'm not necessarily mad because hindsight's 2020, right? Because we're gonna make it. Now the next drive, the next play I'm actually upset with, Josh. That there's 2 bad throws he made. That was one of them. There was one earlier in the game that was the one that she threw Shakir that was behind him. He still caught it, but if you would have throw the ball out, they still scored a touchdown that drive. He could have made a move. There was a blocker, right? So there's 2 bad throws. So on that one, if he stayed in the pocket, so what happened was Deion Doxson again was getting bulldozed. He stayed in the pocket for 1 more second. Dalton Kincaid was open on the hitch for 6 yards, and Shakir was open on the flat. Now, it would have been 4th down, and the question becomes, if I'm McDermott, he's been all aggressive all game, does he go for on 4th and 3? Right? Or whatever it is, because Kincaid is great, but he's not getting first on that one. No. So that's where I'm like, he rolled to the right. But that's the same play that Josh Allen did 4 series ago, that scored a touchdown to Shakir. Yeah, he rolled to the right.
He rolled to the left.
Left.
And then he scored. Crazy. It was like
right.
I don't even know how he even threw that pass.
So are we upset that he does? And again, this is where I'm trying to not be a fan. I'm trying to look at it a different way. But he always does that. He always, in that side of the end zone, he rolls to the right and he makes magic happen. So it's like we can't be upset. He makes touchdowns, but you can't. You can't be happy. Make touchdowns. Can't be upset. Now, what I'm going to talk about that pissed me off more than anything was the first drive of the Buffalo Bills defense. First play of the game. Pacheco, and I just want to talk about drives, and then we're going to talk about stats real quick. Pacheco runs the ball for 2 yards. Okay? For 2 yards. Second play, AJ Klein and it looks like it was AJ Klein and Taron Johnson miscommunicate. Rice is, wide open in the corner of the flat.
Right.
Catches the ball for 23 yards, catches the ball and goes 23 yards and gets a first. Why was nobody picking them up, right? That would have been, if they would have picked them up, no one's open. It would have been 3rd down, different game. The Chiefs didn't have 1 3rd down until they got to the red zone in that drive. Actually, they didn't have a 3rd down until they got the red zone the first 2 drives, right? The defense looks so bad. Mahomes missed on the same drive a touchdown to Rashid Rice. We talked about in the chat room. We're like, Dame Jackson turned around. He got picked. The pass was so bad. Dame Jackson got burned by 2 steps. Right. If he would have thrown the ball a little over his head, it was a touchdown. He missed Travis Kelce. So, what if the Bills would have won, Ty? Was Patrick Mahomes going to get feedback that he missed 3 touchdowns, 2 in one drive
No,
and one? No, he
no.
would have been like,
Patrick Mahomes is great, and he showed up and did everything he needed to do and played against, a guy that was sitting in his RV and exposed him, which is what you're supposed to do,
right, right.
right? But yeah, I'm with you. I mean,
But what I'm going to say is that the reason why I'm talking about the first drive of defense, they look so bad. They made no adjustments. If you watch all 20, it was very painful to watch. Now Poyer started getting Kelsey in the second half, but we waited to the second half. Kelsey was in seven. Kelsey lined up 7 different positions. Kelsey looked like Kelsey 2 years ago. Kelsey, it was just bad. This is where I get frustrated with the Bills. Like, what are you doing? Like, Andy Reid came with a plan, and I get you got to put your defense together with duct tape and bubble gum. But
Yeah.
but you see, Rasul Douglas didn't look the same. Put Elam
No,
in.
he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't look the same. I would have put Elam in. Dorian Williams, AJ, anybody would have been better than slow AJ Klein. The first drive, you could see AJ Klein wasn't ready. Like,
yeah, he was
you,
lost.
you could see he was lost. But I go back to few stats. I know it's going to sound like, I'm being a homer, Bills homer, but Bills scored 3 touchdowns in the red zone. Never happened this year on the Chiefs defense.
Right.
Bills had over 50% third downs. Chiefs are 33% on third downs on defense. Bills had 25 or whatever, 3 drives over 75 yards first time. There's a lot of stats that more first downs, different things like that.
Bills offense played pretty well.
Second most points all year. Only the Packers that scored 27. I mean, if you score 24, you think they win the game.
Hey, if you don't recall, I did say, well, people in the group chat, I did say a guarantee that the Bills scored 24 points. Guaranteed. That's why I was saying, and they're like, well, then we should win. I was like, yeah, you should if your defense plays well. So it was weird. You blame the offense because they scored 24 against the Chiefs, but if you would have came into the game, you would have thought, yeah, if the Bills score 24 points at home, the way the Chiefs offense has been playing, they should win.
Right.
And they did not win. And they actually, like you said, they had those long sustained drives. They played well for the most part. And then at the end, it just came down to execution at the end. There's no excuses like people were saying, but there is an excuse, and I said it, and I told you like I didn't like it, and it's not that I didn't feel it way, and I know people are gonna be like, well, that's stupid, but it's real. This is a physical football game. You have a team on a short week and a team with an extra day. When does that show up? It shows up in the fourth quarter.
Right.
If you look at the history, and I've put this out there for everybody. If you look at the history of NFL, there's not been that much though, because I looked it up. It wasn't as many games as I thought. There was like 1970. There was a Monday night football game in the playoffs. But since they've gone to the Monday night thing, the Monday night teams are 1-3 in the playoffs.
Okay.
Right. And so not only have they lost, but even the one team that won, that was the Rams. Remember the Rams were up 28-3 against the Buccaneers. What happened in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, tired.
They blew the game, right? You're like, oh my God, how is the Bucs coming back? Well, because you start off, you got your adrenaline going, but then you're trying to hold on in the fourth quarter. I'm trying to hold on, and that's what it felt like with Buffalo. They were trying to hold on instead of being fresh. Where the Chiefs, even though they weren't killing in the fourth quarter, they didn't actually. They really didn't do anything in the fourth. But their defense was able to stand up, and their offensive line for the Bills wilted when they needed it the most, and it's because it's a physical game.
Right. And I mean, Ed Oliver, 0 pressure. First time he had it since 2001.
Yep.
I mean, like I said, there's criticism to give to Josh Allen, right? And quarterbacks do that all the time. But guys, what I was talking about the Pittsburgh game, people forgot the Bills were up only 7, right? When Pittsburgh, and then they marched down the field.
Yeah.
Right. Now, Josh Allen made the same type of throws he made in this game, right? Yep. The same type of throws were being made in this game where he scored, took a risk. So that's what happens, right? Pat Mahomes, I'm going to just talk about Pat Mahomes for a second. On that Travis Kelce pass that he threw to him, they overthrew, he was open. 2 people are open. Same is a concept. It happens, guys. It's football. That's where we're over, like Marcus Spears said on NFL Live yesterday. We're over analyzing the quarterback in position and blaming them for the games when there's so many things that
There's so
you could
many
talk
choices,
about. The Chiefs had 8 plays over 20 yards. Most plays over 20 yards this game than it did the last 8 games. All right. So right. Bills had 0. First time that Josh Allen did not hit a pass over 20 yards since his rookie year.
Yeah.
96 games ago is the first time, right? Now there were 4 passes, 3 of them were drops.
The Sherfield pass too. Oh my God.
Twice, bro, twice.
I know,
the one
twice.
that was
that one, I mean, he threw that 50 yards. I mean, he put it just come down with the ball, just make a play. And you know what? MVS made plays, and everyone was killing MVS.
I was going to say that next.
MVS made 2 plays, two catches.
The first one, I mean, my man that first one was a great catch. The second one, Hyde. I mean, what were you doing on that?
That was
guess who was? Dame and Hyde. Dame looked slow out there. Like I mean, if the Bills were fully healthy, they would have won. But the issue is that they weren't. So the question becomes, oh, they got to score 31. Well, guys, no one scored 30 points on Chiefs all year. No one. And you'll see this week when we'll talk about it too. So it's like we go in this mind that, oh, the offense got shown, they got to score 31. I said, yeah, that's what I personally thought they need to score 31 to win, but as it happened all year, the Chiefs haven't allowed 31 points in like what? It's 18, not 18, like 22 games or something like that. Whatever that record is, I mean, it just doesn't happen, bro. So
I know. Yeah,
that's all good.
Yeah, I know, man. It's a tough game. I feel bad for Bill. I really do feel bad. I mean, just like I said, I had no reason logically to pick it. I just saw the game going.
Yeah, injuries caught up, bro.
Pretty much happening exactly how that went. Like you watched the game, even though they were doing that, the Bills looked like the better team for most of the game. Even when the Chiefs were driving down the field, the Bills were answering, like you said, they were doing things to the Chiefs defense that you hadn't seen all season.
Right.
And then they couldn't
7 minute drives. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to milk the clock so their defense don't get on the field. I understand. And so
you got to make, that means that when you're on defense, you got to make a play. Like, even though you're hurt, you got to like stop them or hold them to field goals.
Which they did. They did. And that's where we're going to go. Patrick Mahomes, 2 touchdowns, wide busted coverage, and a screen pass.
Yeah.
Right. And listen, the fake punt was a joke. They should have scored. I don't know why they gave. Look at the Chiefs. They gave them McCole Hardman, right? That would have been a talk. If they'd have lost the game without him in talk, like why the hell you gave them McCole Hardman, right? Or the fake punt. But it just the Bills. If the Bills don't see that tape and say we need a number 2, I don't know if Gabe would get open because you need separation. They need speed or a number 2. They just do. You could just watch that game. The Chiefs said we're playing zone. We know that you guys have Dalton Kincaid and these short little passes you could do. We're gonna put 2 safety highs. It was bad, man. It was bad. And the injuries caught up with them. I mean, this was what happened. So,
but hey, good season for them. In general, I mean, they got to this point, and we'll see what happens. We'll talk about off season in the off season. So
but we'll go to next game. What we talk about?
I know. Sorry, man. I know it's hard to relive. That was me last week. It's hard to relive that stuff. But
I spent 5 hours watching the tape, bro. It's very tough.
Well, you're better than me. I can't. I started watching the Cowboys game. But at least there's a difference. Your team was actually in it, and you were competing. My team was just like didn't show up. So I started watching the beginning of that game again, and I was like, I can't do it. I was watching. I was like, I don't even want to. Yeah, I don't want to see it.
It was my therapy. I could spend 2 hours talking about it, but I just want to do the highlights.
Yeah. All right. Well, the next game is actually we're going to talk about is the Chiefs' opponent, who they play. It would be the Ravens, and they played the Texans. It was 34-10. Interesting game. I think I said Ravens will either blow them out or they're going to lose, right? And at the beginning of the game, I was like, oh, these guys might lose because they came out, looked terrible. Like, I don't know.
Flat.
It was really, really bad. But once they got rolling, there's nothing to Texas. I mean, the Texans are not better than the Ravens. It's just not. They're just not. There's nothing they can do with the Ravens team. Like they didn't even sniff the red zone. The touchdown they got was a punt return for a touchdown.
Oh, I know.
Which is crazy. It was
They
an
didn't.
annihilation.
They didn't even get to the. Did it? I don't think they got to the red zone, right? Or maybe
No,
once.
no, no.
Okay.
They did not get to the red zone
Yeah.
one time. Even the field goal was like a 50-yarder or something, or
Yeah.
48-yarder.
Yeah.
So that was just utter domination. And Lamar, and we'll talk about the preview. I thought he played pretty well second half. He used his legs a lot. I think he's going to have to do that this week. We'll talk about that a little bit in more detail as we get to that game. But I don't know if you had anything else to
Damn.
say, but really don't
I
have much to
mean,
say
no,
about that.
it was 10 and a half. I was like, oh, but the problem was that the Raven, if you actually watched the game and didn't score, you thought the Ravens were up by 20 points.
Right.
And
Yeah,
C.J. Stroud was running for his life out
yeah.
there. No one could get open. I
No
mean,
one could run.
no one could.
It
It
was
was
just
bad.
bad. Like I
Larry
mean,
Tunzel was getting absolutely eaten alive on the left. It was bad.
it
But
really was.
yeah, we'll move on to
It's how you
that.
dominate a line of scrimmage is
Yeah,
what I was talking about. Like
yeah,
that's a clinic right there. All
yeah.
right, next game is the we'll talk about is the other one seed. So I was right with the pick, but I was wrong with that game, man. The Packers 49ers.
Yeah,
That
I
was
told you.
you did say that. I do think the weather was a factor and then the
Yeah, small
Debo thing.
hands.
Yeah,
Small
small hands.
hands.
You did say that. Small hands. That is true. Small hands came
Pumpkin.
into play there. Man, that was a interesting game. So it was 24-21. 49ers won that game.
Yeah.
Um,
You,
sad because I felt like the Packers, they came out, good game plan, ran the ball well. Aaron Jones, looking spry. By the way, people watching this, I've had a lot of conversations about, oh, the Jets, Aaron Rodgers didn't have any playmakers like he does there. Um, I think the Packers look like they have some playmakers. Look like their running backs are pretty decent, right?
They
They
didn't even
look
have
like their
AJ
offensive,
Dillon
right? They look like their offensive line, which is I was talking about, look pretty good against San Francisco's offensive line. I mean defensive line. So
with backups.
yes,
Just
backups in some of those line positions. You are correct.
right.
So it's very interesting. But what ended up came down to play is, unfortunately, Love pressed.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up starting to press, trying to make a couple plays that I don't think he um, needed to make, and he got that pick, um, helped, and then he got the pick at the end of the game. But also the kicker missing the kick. I knew that, by the way, Carlson. He's just been weird all year. Like
You're like
you can't,
Bass.
yeah,
Can't
you
trust
can't
him.
can't trust him. He's got to be having the same percentage as Bass. It got to be two of the bottom percentage guys in the league. Um, but I will say if Debo getting hurt completely changes their offense
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever, because now that they don't have Debo, there's no threat of him getting the ball in the run or they're doing the little screens. We're gonna throw a screen to Jennings or Ray McLeod. You're like, I don't care what he does. He's just a regular dude.
Right, right.
Debo, I mean,
Jennings had some points. Jenny had a couple of
he
important catches.
he did have catches, but he's like a regular receiver.
I hear
You know
you.
what
I
I'm
know.
saying? Like
Right.
Debo is like not a human person that's playing receiver.
Right,
He's
right.
not like any other receiver in the NFL, and because of that, it makes them so hard to game plan against that
Mm-hmm.
you can't just run basic coverages because you're like, dang, Debo's just standing in here. You're like, usually he's just sitting there in the flat. You're like, I gotta actually put two guys around him because if I put one guy on, he's gonna break the tackle like he's a running back. So once he was gone, they struggled big time. But
Well, yeah, because they
props
don't
to
have a
them
real
figuring it out.
quarterback. I
Right.
mean, that's.
Well,
I mean,
that's
I
fine.
mean,
Of course,
so,
he manages the pieces on the field.
yeah,
You take a major piece off like Debo, I think you can get away with other pieces maybe more than Debo. Debo is the chess. He's the chess piece.
yeah,
He's the
Swiss Army
one.
knife.
Yep.
He's a
You
Swiss
put him
Army
right.
knife.
You put him in everywhere. Once
Right.
you took him out, you
Yeah.
become a regular team. Not regular, but still like you ain't San Francisco that's going to drop 45 anymore.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, I take it back because I didn't say a real quarterback. I meant to say like you don't have an elite quarterback as people. He's not. To me, it's just his hands are small. So just get. Just, I'm gonna give you my take of the game. It Christian McCaffrey is the MVP. I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for Christian McCaffrey,
Yeah.
who
Oh,
knows? Who knows what would have happened that game?
yeah.
Because that run he had, and then he
Oof.
willed his way. He even had some blocks. People don't talk about. He had some blocks, some catches.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the Packers, the same thing with the Bills. The Packers played the better game overall.
Mm-hmm.
Dropped a couple. They had an interception. They dropped.
Mm,
I mean, they
mm-hmm.
had. But what happened was they pressed. You're right. Jordan Love threw a terrible pass to Tyler Croft. I don't know
Yep.
what the hell he was talking about. The tight end. Like, what
Yeah.
were you doing? And it was interception, led to 3 points, right?
Yep. Yep.
And kind of momentum swing. I know they almost that punt that got lucky.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're a when you're a young, inexperienced team. When you
Yeah.
got a 21 to 14 point lead, and I see what Matt LaFleur was trying to do. He's like, well, I got a young quarterback. Do I, a running game? The run game was started. So San Fran basically says, shit, we're going to stop the
Yep.
run. You better
Yep.
pass the ball.
Which I don't know why it took them so long to figure that part out, but
right. So you got to pass the ball.
mhm.
But like I said, interesting game coming up. Brock Purdy, I mean,
Yeah, I know.
you better not
Well,
have another game like that. Like
yeah,
I don't know.
yep, he didn't play well. There's no other way to put it. He didn't. He definitely was looking shook out there. But I will say this: he did make plays at the end, and I think
Yeah.
him using his legs, he's gonna have to do that again. Like he needs to, especially he's gonna have to make. If they're gonna win, he's gonna have to make some plays like
Yeah.
that the next game.
He made
Versus,
some he
yeah,
made some plays. I
yeah,
mean,
he did. Yeah, yeah, he did. He did. I mean, that throw to Conley was great. I mean, Conley. I mean, the fact I didn't
right.
even know he was
And
in the league.
Jennings, yeah, me either.
I was like, man, I was like, wait, Conley from Georgia? Like he's the
Right,
I was like, really? But good
right,
for him. Good for him that he's got a job.
right.
Um, but yeah, so then the last game, who their opponent will be, and we kind of figured it, but it was a good game actually. I actually enjoyed this game a lot more than I thought I would.
It was
Um,
exciting.
yeah, Lions Bucks. The Lions won what 31-23, which before we get into the game, can I just say this? I hate the coaches going for two when they're down 14 and then scoring a touchdown. I hate it. What are you doing? Like,
Me too.
what are you doing? Just
Especially
yeah,
batters, bro.
it's just dumb to me. I don't even. It's just dumb. Just what are we doing? Oh, the analytics say. Well, it also says you're you're giving yourself a chance to not lose. I mean, not win. It's just dumb. I don't agree with it. Anyway,
The betters will like it because they
yeah.
would have made it. And you took
Yeah.
the 6.5.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
But yeah, so anyway, in that game, Lions offense uh played great, in my opinion. They're out there dealing, doing well. Goff was playing well. Um, Tampa's pass defense is just not very good. Their run defense is usually pretty good, but I think it got to a point where they're getting gashed so bad in the
right.
in the in the past that they were like, all right, well, we gotta drop stuff. And then Gibbs hit him, and
Yeah.
Montgomery hit him, and they couldn't sustain. One other take I will say of this, and I think I texted the group chat is, even though they lost, Baker deserves an extension. He showed me a
Oh
lot
yeah, yeah.
that game. Like he wasn't rattled. He didn't like make any. I can't think of any like, man, that was just really dumb plays besides the last interception, which he, he was pressing at that point anyway. Um,
Right.
I thought he played really really well. Um,
Yeah, I agree with you. He deserves one.
yeah, I think they can establish an actual running game, and I mean they got weapons,
Yeah,
and
700 passing yards and 6 touchdowns. Two
in the
interceptions
playoffs.
in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Well, yeah. How many? Yeah, yeah. But 300. How many yards passing have they
Three
been?
319 yards or
Yeah,
49 yards, and then
yeah,
387 yards the game
yeah,
before that.
yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He was dealing out there.
Mike Evans might not be back. But I mean,
Yeah, they better sign him. That's what I say. That's because that guy is the truth, man. He made that one catch. I was like, yo, this guy is great. It was a good game. Lions, their secondary is garbage. It just really is. I'm watching them out there. I just don't understand how bad some guys could be. They're just not good. But their D line is really good. And I think you know, that's going to be their only shot.
the linebackers too. I like their
Yeah.
linebackers.
Yep.
Jack Campbell.
So props to Lions. I'm really happy for them for getting there. And they are off to the NFC Championship game against San Francisco. So, all right, that's the wrap up of the wild card. Did you?
Hold on, one
Sorry, go ahead.
comment
Sorry,
about
sorry,
uh,
sorry. Go ahead.
that's all. No, just really quick. I don't want to waste my time. Um, the Bucks would have won the game, in my opinion, if Jamel Dean didn't get hurt. Because Jamel Dean,
Mm-hmm.
once he got hurt, that's when they were getting exposed. Jared Goff
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
throwing touchdowns. So
That's
I
true.
just feel that the Bucks would have. I don't. Let's take it back. Let me walk my comment back.
Yeah.
I don't know if they won, but it would have been a lot closer because they were picking on his name starts with an M. Oh my gosh, I forgot his name. McLeod. They were McLeod. They were picking on him. The rookie. Once he got out, they said that's when I forgot Jameson Williams was actually in the game. Like I forgot he even
Yeah.
played. 12 pick in the draft. He got a ball, but that hurt. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, man, he just looked like whew. Yeah, he gonna look like the real deal.
Yeah, he
Top
really
three
does.
fantasy player next year. That's all I can tell you. But
We'll
look
see. I
good.
still like Montgomery.
And
I
I
think
know I took him in a freaking Survivor Fantasy League.
I
I
know.
took it, and couldn't get a TD. They gave it to freaking Reynolds on that
I
fourth
know.
down.
I
That's
know.
another thing. Like Dan Campbell is the most aggressive coach,
Yeah, he
bro.
is, man. He is.
So,
We'll see. We'll see if he gets him through this week. Because it's gonna be
but I do want to make a quick comment. I like Jamar Chase, but imagine Penei Sewell was in Cincinnati. Would Burrow be getting hurt? That's all I got to say. That's all.
Mm, that's
They're supposed to pick him. I mean, he looked like the real deal. But I love Jamar
uh,
Chase, but
yeah, that is
but
interesting. That is interesting. All right. Well, so which game would you like to start on this championship game?
let's start with the one I care about more. No, I like the Lions, but I think the Ravens and the Ravens and Chiefs. That's gonna be
All right.
interesting. That's very. I've been reading about it. I'll let you go first, but it's an interesting game. A very interesting game.
Yeah, it is interesting. So I don't know if I think I said this on here. I talk a lot to a bunch of people about stuff. But I'm before I give my analysis, I'm just gonna go straight into who I think who's gonna win. The Chiefs.
Me too. I said it last
Okay,
week.
yeah. I say whoever wins that Bills Chiefs game is gonna win. And is because are they better than the Ravens? No. I actually don't think they are. I can just like I don't think they're better than the Bills. But if I need somebody to make, and it's not even the Mahomes thing per se, like him in particular, it's the team. They make plays. They don't beat themselves when it counts. I think the Ravens are a good team, but I want to see them with adversity. Now, it worked against the Texans because you already like Lamar went in the locker room was screaming. You heard of that, right? He was in there
Yes.
screaming at everybody and telling them like, "What the heck are you doing?" And they came out and they like punched him in the mouth. Well, they were actually punching him in the mouth before
Right.
that. At halftime, it's just that the offense wasn't doing anything. Like the defense was like, "Oh, I hear you, but we doing all right." Like you guys, like you don't got to worry about it on our side. They're not scoring, so you don't have to worry about that, right?
Right.
Um, this week is not going to be that way. Like, uh, the Ravens, they have their um I think the Ravens offense is not going to put up as many points because again, the Chiefs defense is elite. And I think people keep forgetting about this. I hate listening to the people on the media talking about Mahomes. I'm like, yo, the Chiefs defense is elite. It's the defense. anybody else played the Bills yes, even the Ravens, honestly, the Bills would have scored 30-something points on them.
Right.
But the Chiefs are so sound. Like that's why they didn't give up 20 yards. The Ravens would have tried to blitz the Bills. Come on now, they would have gotten eaten up.
Right.
You know? So
True.
I think the keys to the game, um, running. Again, I said like last week. If the Chiefs can run the ball on the Ravens, which I actually think they can, because even though the Texans weren't that good at run, that's not their strength. They happen to be able to run, but that's not really what they want to do. I mean, you got, you know, um, Devin Singletary and
Okay.
what's his
Damian
face?
Pierce.
Yeah, Damian Pierce. Like, come on now. I like those guys, but they're not Pacheco, you know?
Right.
So I think if the Chiefs can get some running, then the Ravens are going to have to commit to stopping the run, and their corners are okay. Like you said last week, they are prone to give up big plays. They didn't give up any big plays because they're like, yo, Nico and
Robert Woods.
like that's what I'm saying. Like
And
literally,
Hutchison, I forgot, from Boise State. Like, I
yeah,
don't
like
even know.
who are these guys? Like you really saw, and I remember I said that no Noah Brown. I know he's not huge, but yo, he's been starting for them all year. No Noah Brown, no Tank Dell. Of course, he's been out for the season. The Ravens like, yeah, Nico's not beating us. He not, and he still had a pretty decent game for him, but he's not beating us. And so you can't do that with Mahomes. He's gonna throw to everybody, right? He can throw it to the water boy out there, and he's like, look, he open right here in this corner. I'm gonna hit him for this little quick pass.
Right.
But I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. I think Lamar Jackson is a great player. He better, and I said earlier, he better use his legs. If Lamar Jackson runs all over them, they'll win this game.
Yep.
But I think they know that, and they're gonna be like, "Yo, Lamar, you have to throw it." And we don't trust. You got good receivers. We don't got amazing receivers. I mean, Zay Flowers. I'll put Snead on him. Let's see how he does. And then let's see how OBJ does with two bad knees and Bateman. And okay, Andrews is coming back. Great. Is he healthy? Like,
He has to
who's
play
gonna
football.
who's gonna threaten you with the pass? And I'm gonna put some pressure on you because they're coming.
Well, I think McDuffie's going to probably get Zay Flowers or Ordell, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a good game though. 23-20. Chiefs.
23.
23-20.
So yeah, I've done it. So there's three injuries that I'm monitoring. One that has been official, most likely is going to happen, but Tooney is not going to play, which you saw what he did at Oliver. Their interior line, he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see if that affects, because they have the best interior line in the game. You can see in the Bills game. I mean, so but Andy Reid is going to scheme something, right? Andy Reid, he's going to figure something out. So the Ravens are aggressive and everything. So if the Ravens D line can actually take advantage of that and make Mahomes, the problem is that Mahomes is so good out of the pocket.
Yes.
So you don't want to keep out of pocket. That's why you got Well, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I was gonna co-sign with you, because if you think of the one game where the Ravens defense did not play that great, it was against who? And he's not even that great a quarterback. Deshaun Watson. Do you remember that game?
Right.
Deshaun was killing them outside the pocket.
Right.
And he ain't Mahomes, man.
Right.
Like,
yeah. So
they got 31 points.
Yeah. So you take advantage of their bookends, but Clowney's got 9.5 sacks. Good for him. A good story. And Ofi, they don't look that great, but the focus to me is like everyone's going to be talking about Patrick Mahomes and everything. It's going to be on Lamar, man. Lamar, I know people think I'm a Lamar hater. I'm not a hater of Lamar. I like Lamar. I don't like his press conference because I don't understand what he's saying half the time. But I actually do like him as a player. But watching the tape, and would you say Lamar's not a better passer than Josh Allen? Scrambling quick, why? Yeah, but they're both different scramblers, and Josh Allen has 17 rushing touchdowns.
Right.
If you actually watch the tape, they're going to do the same thing zone. Now, are the Ravens receivers going to get open? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's going to happen. They're going to have Willie Gay and a spy. They're going to rush 3, and they're going to make Lamar a passer. You know, Spags going to make Lamar a passer. He's going to say, "Pass me the." You know, make you a passer. We ain't going to give you no bullshit. You saw. If you actually watch the Texan game, are you trying to tell me the Texans have a better D line and linebacker core than the Chiefs? Because Christian Harris looked like all pro out there. I mean, the guy barely made a team last year, right? He was a great player at Alabama, but he was out there like, so they're gonna spy, they're gonna make Lamar a passer. Lamar, your MVP. I don't think you should have won it this year. I think Christian McCaffrey should have. That's just me. But this is your time to shine. You talk about no one puts respect in your name, and you got to get your flowers. This is the game to let us know, is Lamar an elite quarterback? I think he's very good. I think he's
I think so.
a top quarterback, but he's going to have to pass the ball.
Yeah.
Right. And that's going to be the key. Mark Andrews there, that's fine, but he had a major injury.
Yeah.
I don't even know how he's even going to play.
I don't know how he's going to play either.
But Lamar's going to be a kid is Lamar.
The key is Lamar. Key is Lamar. And if that and also, like I said, if that line, the D line of the Ravens can dominate, then I think they'll have a chance. My dog is coming in here. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, so that's gonna be it's gonna be Lamar in the Ravens D line. That's gonna be the game.
Yeah.
But to your point, the last point I'll add, and then we'll talk about other news. But if Patrick Mahomes, so the reason why I picked the Chiefs, because I think the Chiefs are going to win. I have this gut feeling. The Ravens should win, but I have this feeling the Chiefs.
Yep.
And I do want the Chiefs to win for a couple of reasons. A, the Bills lost to them.
Yeah.
And I hate Tom Brady, so I want Patrick Mahomes to be the GOAT. So
yeah,
at least give Patrick Mahomes a GOAT. As much as it irritates me, but let him go. But I know what you mean. I always want the Lions to win the Super Bowl. If the Lions win the Super Bowl, that'll make everything better.
Yeah. I definitely, I picked the Chiefs. I definitely don't want them to win.
Yeah.
But so I'll be rooting for Baltimore, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, me too. I root for Lamar. I actually like Lamar. I can't stand that freaking.
Yeah, I hope he does well. Just play, show up. I mean, I don't think he's gonna play terrible. I just don't know if he.
People are gonna get a lot of smoke in our chat rooms if he don't play well. Be ready, because I've been trying to tell people he has to be a passer as a quarterback. Yeah. So this is the game.
This is the game. All right, so that's the AFC. Ooh, that is the first game actually at 3:00. And the late game is in Santa Clara, where the Lions, not the Dallas Cowboys, who should probably be there,
or the Bills,
or the Bills,
other side,
but are playing the San Francisco 49ers. So, do you want to go first? And
for me, it's simple for me. Debo's not playing, isn't it? They don't know yet. Yeah. So it's going to be very, to me, it's very simple for the Lions to win. The Lions to win, and then the Lions just gotta use that thunder, lightning, and that O-line. If you watch the tape with Green Bay, and use a lot of play action. Jared Goff is very good at play action. It's outdoors, it's not cool. I know Jared Goff is terrible outside of Detroit. I understand. Outdoors. And there's one weakness, and we saw last week, Jordan Love showed it. I've been saying this for a long time. The Niners cornerbacks are not good.
No, they're not.
And so if you can get St. Brown, I just have a feeling like Josh Reynolds, somebody's gonna make a play. Sam Laporta, he's gonna do his thing. If they run the ball, they do some play action and drive the ball, they can win it, right? That's simple to me. On the 49ers part is going to be, in my opinion, Purdy has to win this game. I mean, because they're gonna play everything at Christian McCaffrey. They F it. We're gonna make Purdy, and the cornerbacks are their secondary is terrible.
Yeah.
So even without Debo, you should take advantage. So Purdy, it's just like Lamar. It's you. You're gonna not Christian McCaffrey. It's gonna be you.
Yep.
They can be for me. I already know how I watched Detroit because I liked them. I like Dan Campbell,
Mhm.
and so you even saw during you saw 2 games ago with the Rams. They're like, well, because they didn't want Kyron Williams
Yeah, Kyron.
to do his thing, so they said, okay, we're just gonna stop the run
Right.
and you're gonna pass the ball. So Brock Purdy, you're up, and I'm taking Brock Purdy in my fantasy football playoff.
I would too.
Please, Brock, don't disappoint me.
Who do you think's gonna win then?
My heart says go to Trey, but I'm sorry, I'm analyzing the game and analytics and looking at it. It has to be the Niners. I mean, the Niners don't make the Super Bowl. Like Detroit's never made a Super Bowl, right? I'm pretty
Heck
sure.
no, no.
Yeah.
This is
Second,
the
it's,
second
and
time,
it's,
second NFC Championship game ever.
but I mean, because I'm killing that back in the day. Like an NF, they made it. Didn't they make it before that? Like no, never
They
in
won.
that
They won.
older.
I think they won an NFL championship in like 1950.
Yeah, okay, they're like the Bills. Got you.
Something.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Right.
yeah, so this is second. This is the second NFC Championship game.
Yes.
So when I analyze, if I'm analyzing the game and really putting my hat on, or like looking at the game and being fair, it should be the 49ers. But for some reason, I have a feeling that the Detroit Lions might pull an upset. I don't know why. It's been one of those years for football, but
Yeah.
who knows?
So I think to me, you mentioned it earlier, and you were kind of like, well, you don't know if he's playing. That's the entire game. My whole analysis is Debo plays, San Fran wins. Debo does not play, Detroit wins. Like that's literally how that sounds as simple as possible, but that's how I feel. Because here's why. If I'm Detroit and I already know my deficiencies at corner, Brandon Ayuk is gonna murder them. I mean, he can like literally. He's like he can get 180 yards receiving on them. I mean, that's how bad their guys are. Even without what's the name? Without Debo. But if they don't have Debo, then they're gonna shade cover. Like we're gonna double them. We're gonna make Brock Purdy make, like I said, make great throws to Ayuk every single time. He's not gonna have to be able to throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage to Debo and have him run, 70 yards on like a 2-yard pass.
Mm-hmm.
But if he has Debo, now you can't do that. And though I don't think Brock Purdy's that great, I'm watching the Lions play, and I'm like, yo, these guys, I don't know how they're getting to these games. Like I don't know how they're winning these games with how bad these corners are. That's how bad they are. They're really bad.
Yeah, safeties too.
Yeah, but their line is so good, and they stop the run really, really well without having to like move safeties down. So I do think that's key, and I'm with you. It is a Brock Purdy game. It's not that I love Brock Purdy, but if you take away a key weapon from Brock Purdy, he still could have like he could have a game similar to the game. I think he would have games similar to the game he had last game. And I don't know if that'll be enough because I do think, like you said, Detroit will be able to run the ball against San Fran. They're physical. They want to be physical.
Yeah.
You gotta want to come in. And I think Dan Campbell watched the press conference with him. He was like, look, those guys are bullies that we're playing. We're playing the bullies. We are ready for this. Right. We want this. And he is that guy. Like he talks like, yeah, he's a meathead, right? He's like, he's probably gonna show up there and start I bet you watch. You can see he's gonna be headbutting people with helmets on before the game without a helmet. He'll be like, he's that kind of guy, right? And they're gonna be fired up. And they have the D line and offensive line, I think, to match. So I don't know if Debo's going to play, and even I don't know how effective he's going to be, but that is my pick. So I don't really know I don't know how it's going to go. I think he's going to play. So I actually do think San Francisco is going to win because I think they're going to shoot him up, and
shoulder, bro.
I know threat of him being out there. He doesn't even have to make a bunch of plays. The threat of him is going to change the way they have to play defense. You can't, if he's out on the field, you can't just be like, no, he's his shoulder. His legs is all right.
Right.
It is not like you got a broken knee.
And that's why I said Detroit. I think the game plan is going to be Detroit's is going to chew the clock up. That's what they got to do. Like you got to keep them off the field,
Yep. And Goff,
So
I don't trust Goff, and I don't trust Brock Purdy either. But I do trust
yeah,
Goff a slightly bit more.
he's back in his coast.
Yeah, he knows them. Right. It's not like he hasn't played them. He knows them.
Yeah, he played
So
him like for what, first 3-4 years or 5 years.
yeah,
Yeah, so yeah. But it's this is where this is where another topic is Ben Johnson. I
yeah,
mean, you're gonna get a job, but this is like where you show your cards, like who you
yep,
are,
yep.
because those jobs are filling up. Breaking news, I'll tell you in a second. The coach that got hired, we all know
Yeah,
that.
I was just gonna say that too. Yep. Yeah, I know. Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Wow. Smart
Why?
man. Smart man.
Yeah.
I know you didn't agree. I know you didn't like it. I agree. Because he went around and he got to talk to all those people and he's like, yo, I got he's such a good coach. You give him Justin Herbert? Come on, man. He's
I
like,
think they're gonna be fine, but it just the division with Patrick Mahomes. Whew, good luck.
he'll be all right.
And,
You know
and,
he
and
ain't
Sharp,
scared. You know he ain't
talk about
scared.
talk about that division. What an interesting personality.
I
You got
know.
Jim Harbaugh, Andy Reid, Antonio Pierce, and Sean Payton.
Yeah.
What an interesting for
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That's gonna be interesting.
it is. It's
Jim, is Jim Harbaugh gonna fire the medical staff because that team been hurt 3 years? I don't know, man. It was
he
like
might. You know
it,
him,
it
he might. Cause he's like,
they're
look,
gonna move. Was that? Go ahead.
no, he said you might, cause you know him, he's gonna have them practicing hard. Like he's not gonna
Yeah.
be like, hey, look, he's like, I'll take some fines for getting some extra padded days. Oh, we're gonna fine me 100,000. Okay, we're gonna be tough.
Did, but they didn't hire a GM yet, right? They had an intern. They didn't, and
I didn't see that.
I know why, because no GM that job's like they're about to be like minus 40. They got to get rid of
Yeah,
Vosa. They still got dead money from JC Jackson.
yeah,
Mike Williams is probably going to be. They're going to probably get rid of him.
yeah,
Buffalo.
yeah. No,
See if you can do anything. But yeah, so it's gonna be
yeah,
interesting.
it
But speaking of
is.
hires, you're gonna talk about another hire.
Yeah, we are. So that is a great transition. So we're actually transitioning out of football really quickly, and we got to talk about basketball. So the breaking news that happened yesterday was the Milwaukee Bucks fired their coach Adrian Griffin, who was 30-13. Now they had the second best record in the East. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, they had the second best record in the NBA because they were tied with the Timberwolves, who's number one in the West, with the for the best record, for that record. They fired their coach who was it was
Right.
first year. They just hire him. If anyone that doesn't know basketball, I'm educating you. They hired him this year. He had 14 interviews before he got this job. He finally got a job, and then they fired him. And so
Right.
you would think that this rant is going to be about the fact that they fired him.
Mm-hmm.
And you're wrong, completely wrong, actually. I am as a Cowboys fan, and you heard what I was talking about last week, Bills fans. I appreciate teams that are like, look, I know I'm still good, but I'm not going to get to my goal because my goal is not to be good. My goal is to win. And you could see they went from the fourth best defense to the 27th or 22nd best defense. 22. Now they lost Drew Holiday, so you're like, okay, Drew Holiday, Dame
And
Lillard,
they got Dan. Yeah. Yeah.
they're gonna lose. Not that much. Not when you have
Right.
two of the best defensive big men in the league, which means they can protect the paint. They're giving up the most points in the paint in the like one of in like top or bottom five in the league. Points in the paint,
Yeah.
which is embarrassing. You got Brooke
Yeah.
and whatever. So I have no problem actually with the firing. My problem is the hire. You
Yes.
fired this guy and you wanted to get experience and you bring in Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers. This dude, I love Doc. He's a cool dude. Like I would love to talk to him, man. Like he would be a cool guy to hang out with. And I got no ill feelings towards him as a man. But as a coach, this guy's the epitome of choke.
Mm,
He has
yeah.
lost the most game sevens of any coach of all time. Now you can say, well, the fact that he got to game sevens means he's good. Yeah, but then you keep losing. He lost the most home game sevens of all time. Which is really the stat. Road, home.
Mm-hmm.
This guy has lost the most 3-1 series of any coach of all time. 3-1. You're up 3-1. The thing with Doc, and I've said this, and also here's the biggest issue. You got rid of James Harden in Philadelphia. You didn't even really replace him. You replaced him with like Nicholas Batum. They're better. You know why? They have a better coach and a better culture. And you could blame James Harden all you want. The guys, you brought him over to the Clippers. Look at the Clippers. They're probably, if they stay healthy, they're going to the finals or at least going to the conference finals.
I think the finals, but yeah.
And with the bad James Harden, ooh, he's such a culture person. Or maybe it's your head coach that doesn't know how to get the best out of his players and are able to adjust. You're up 3-2 and you can't figure out a way to win last year.
Right.
So I have a problem with the Bucks now having two coaches they're going to have to pay because they got to pay Budenholzer for firing him, who was the #1 seed. Then you just hired another guy and you got to pay him. And now you're going to have to pay Doc, who you got to sign to a huge deal.
Doc probably doing it for free because, he needs
he going to get this. He going to get that bank. So I have a problem with this. But anyway, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
I was still confused on the hire. When I first saw it, I was like, who the hell is – I'm not talking about Doc, the head coach.
Adrian Griffin, yeah.
Yeah, Adrian Griffin, right? So, especially Milwaukee, you want to win games. I mean, I don't know if Giannis got involved. Like, he a cool guy. I don't know. That was just weird. It was a weird hire. But to your point, this was weird. So going to your point, as fans of the Bills and Cowboys, you said, I would love for us to get rid of coaches because they're chokers, bro. They just choke if they're not doing well. Just and it's time to go, bro. We aren't winning. This guy in the middle of the season, they looked at, well, yeah, this ain't gonna work out, and it's probably what I think they're thinking, and we will never know this, but they're probably like, it was probably not the right hire in the beginning, so let's cut our losses now.
Yeah.
Now, what to your point, what's interesting is that usually assistant coaches take over.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, but so I forgot who their assistant coach is. I was trying to look it up.
Well, here's the key. By the way, I'm going to piggyback on that. Remember who his lead assistant coach was initially? It was Terry Stotts, and he got fired. Remember, right before the season.
Yeah. Oh, did he get fired? Okay.
Yes. And who fired him? The head coach that they just fired.
No.
Because what happened was there was an argument that they had in the locker room in front of the team. They were yelling at each other, and he fired. His decision was like, I don't want him, and he fired him. I think that's where he lost those players because they're like, yo, wait, who are you? We know Terry, and you know who knows Terry? Dame Lillard. He's like, wait. We're firing Terry? We're firing Terry? He knows what he's doing. Who are you? You just showed up. We got to show you where the bathroom is. Like,
right. And he probably would have been he would have been that coach. I forgot about that part.
Yep.
And so I don't know who his assistant is. That's what's interesting because, look at Boston, different things like that. And then they brought Doc, which, good luck. I mean, there's so many things I want to say. Doc, I'm trying to think of an analogy of Doc. He's just one of a kind. Marty, let's say Marty Schottenheimer of basketball. I don't know. Mike D'Antoni. Those type of guys that choke. But one good thing about the NBA, which is a little different than we saw with Jeff Saturday happen, is that you don't gotta play as many plays. But the key to basketball as a head coach is leadership, discipline. And making proper adjustments throughout the game, right?
Yeah.
Taking the timeouts at the right time, making sure that you have the right matchups, right? So Doc can do that, but the problem is that Doc is a choker in the playoffs, and Giannis is going to know slowly that. And then also, Portland got to make some moves about their bench, right? So hopefully they're. Yeah. I mean, sorry, but that's a part of the Bucks. Think about Dame Lillard. The Bucks are gonna have to make some moves on their bench. Man, they got their defense is not that good, but their bench defense is terrible. Yeah. So the people that come in, so they got to make moves. But good luck to them. Man, it is what it is.
It's crazy. NBA boy, it's a crazy.
I think the Sixers should be the one.
70 points by Embiid the other night.
If he stays healthy, that team is gonna be. Woof.
Yeah. I think enough. I'm not knocking Joker, but we already saw him drop 49. Was that 49 on him? 48? The last that they just played.
Yeah, 49.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're done with that conversation for me personally.
Yeah,
Okay, we're
it
done.
just
We're
he
done.
just
We're
got to
done.
stay healthy.
Yeah, we're done with
Mr.
that.
Gla-
We're done with that. Right, we're done with that conversation. I'm just saying we're done with that conversation because I mean, Embiid is just he's just a I don't know. He's different. The Joker's a great player, but give me that guy.
All
Um,
day.
all right, real quick, and we'll wrap this up. Last thing I gotta say is look. All right, this is NBA related. Um, I don't know who exactly watches this. I have a decent idea of some people that watch it, and most of you guys are football fans, and you might not
Right.
watch basketball.
Right.
So it's okay. I think understand that you might not be a basketball fan, but we're trying to educate you. What I don't like is I actually watch basketball. I have League Pass. I watch everybody play. I love it. I think it's a great sport. I love the NBA. I love watching. I go to games. It's fun. It's a joke watching the All-Star voting. It's a joke. People are still voting players like it's 2015, right? Like it's not anymore. I understand you like this player or whatever, but can we vote for this season? Because it's not fair to players that are actually doing well. Examples. Um, Steph Curry. I think he's having a great year this year. I think he's having a really good year. They're like 12th or 11th in the West. They're, I don't know, 18 and 21 or something. He's averaging 26 a game. He's having a good year, but they stink.
Right.
They're terrible. Now, is that all his fault? No, but you don't deserve to be the number one vote getter in the West when your team stinks. When you look on the other end, who a guy that's not gonna probably make the at least start on the All-Star team is Shea Gilchrist Alexander. He's third right now. This dude's averaging 30, almost 32 points a game, 8 assists. His team is second in the West.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City. You don't even know, people don't know where Oklahoma City is in the United States, let alone in the basketball landscape.
MVP candidate too.
MVP. He's not going to start because Steph Curry, and I'm not, this is not a knock on Steph Curry. He's going to be an all-star anyway. He should be an all-star. He would be a bench, he should be a bench all-star. You should
Right.
have Shea starting. And here's people that don't watch it basketball. Here's what I will tell you. If you don't know and you're just going to vote, just go and like, okay, before I just vote for Steph Curry, let me go look at the numbers. Even if you've never watched, like, let me just go look. And then you would say, dang, this guy is pretty low down here. I mean, doesn't mean he's bad. He's like 16th, 15th and point, something like that, 12. Shea's third. Second is Luka, who is also the other guard, who I understand why Luka's starting. I mean, he's averaging 34, almost 34 points a game. He should probably be starting. Please just do that, because then when you're voting and I vote, and I've had to vote 2, 3 times now, because I'm like I'm gonna continue to vote as much as I can, so maybe that will help so that Shea gets to be a starter because it's a travesty that this happens. That's one side. The other side is Trae Young, who is the epitome of choking and non-winning basketball, who also has 18 wins magically. He does have 27 points and averaging 11 assists, which is pretty good numbers wise. But those numbers are completely empty. They are terrible, Atlanta, to watch. Terrible. He is not a leader at
Right.
all. You watch it's a joke.
But Tyrese is leading though, right? The voting.
He is, but Trae second.
Right. The
So
trade
Trae
is.
Young is going to be starting possibly as guard, starting over Donovan Mitchell, whose team is sitting at fifth. Jalen Brunson. Now, of course, you might say you're Nick. I see all your Nick stuff back there, so you're a homer. No, Jalen Brunson. Not only are we way better than Atlanta, I mean, it's not even close. Jalen Brunson is averaging like half a point less than Jason Tatum.
Right.
This dude is 6'1", destroying the league. And he's not going to get a chance to start because of Trae Young. Why? Why is even Trae Young in this discussion? Sure,
Right.
maybe he gets. I wouldn't even put Trae Young in the All-Star game the way that Atlanta's playing. He has not helped or contributed to them playing well in one bit. DeJounte Murray actually is
Yeah.
contributing more to them winning than Trae Young. He plays defense. He actually makes the right plays. He's efficient. Trae Young shooting 42%. Brunson is shooting 47%. They're not even close. Not even the same stratosphere. So anyway, I had to get that out because I'm really pissed about these. Well, there's plenty, and I didn't talk about Anthony Edwards. I didn't talk about Tyrese Maxey because Anthony Edwards is on the number one team in the West, by the way, the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's not like eighth in the vote getting in the guards. Eighth.
What about my boy from Houston?
Sengun.
Yeah, Sengun. Man.
He's got a tough hill to climb, but he might get in.
But
he might get in actually.
Yeah, you know how it's a popularity contest, bro.
It is.
I said the same thing about the Pro Bowl. It's just It's like, what have you done? It hasn't been what have you done for me lately. It's what have you done before?
Yeah, what have you done? Period. Right.
Yeah, it's just dumb. It's becoming, even baseball is becoming the same. It's just dumb to me. Stop having the fans vote. Personally, I think that I don't know how you do it correctly, but NBA is 1/3, right? Same 1/3 fan vote, and then the players or
no, the starters. The starters is fan voting. That's it.
Oh yeah, the starter, and then the rest is done by
the rest of the coaches.
Coaches,
players.
I forgot the NBA does that.
So why is that? Why is that important? Like you might like. I think the Steph Curry thing, why it annoys me is because I do think like Anthony Edwards or Shea Gilgeous, because they should be rewarded to start. They should be part of what people that don't watch basketball get a chance to see, is that these guys are the future and they're actually leading. But Steph is an all-star. It is questionable if Trae Young is an all-star. Seriously, I don't care what his numbers say. You shoot the ball 28 times, you're going to average 27 points a game. You're shooting 40% from the field. That's terrible. That's not good. Mm-hmm. So if he didn't get voted, it's arguable. I wouldn't put him over Maxey. I wouldn't put him over Brunson. I wouldn't put him over, Donovan Mitchell. I'm not putting him over those guys. So, or Jaylen Brown. So do you even make the All-Star? Do you even make the All-Star team? But he is now. So it means if he makes it, one of those guys I just listed are not going to make the All-Star team because he's starting. And that's the issue that I have. So that is my vent. I had to get it off to everybody because this is the fans vote, don't know what the hell they're doing. So I want to educate people on, hey, look, I want fans to vote. That's great. But if you vote, just be an informed fan. This is why you're listening to us. We're trying to inform you. We know it all, kind of, not really, but I know a little bit. And look up before you're like, hey, I like Steph Curry. That's like also LeBron is also leading vote getter, and he's having a good year. But actually, Anthony Davis is actually having a better year. And you have the narrative, Anthony Davis is not a good player. Well, this year he actually is a good player. He's only missed 2 games this entire season. 2. Where LeBron has missed like 5 or 6 or something, which whatever. But Anthony Davis has better, more points, rebounds, steals, blocks. But no, I'm not going to vote. I'm going to vote LeBron because that's who I always vote. Or Kawhi Leonard's not a starter, who team is pretty amazing. So,
it's just I'm so over the Pro Bowl, the All-Star. Mm-hmm. Baseball is even annoying. It's just popularity contest.
Yeah, it is.
It's a social media contest.
It is. It's kind of a joke.
At least what's crazy. You'll see it. The All-Star game and then the all NBA teams are different because the real people put them in this Pro Bowl, and the All Pro is different. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, you're like, what? So that's why I look at the All-Star. I'm sorry, the All NBA and All Pro teams. When I look, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about everything else.
No, it's true. It's true. All right. Well, thank you guys for another episode. We wanted to get this in a little early. Enjoy the football. If you are going to watch basketball, watch educationally, use your brain, look at some numbers. Also watch the game. Like, you can watch and you'll be like, man, I don't know who this guy is. Today, actually, I mean, probably not going to get it today, but Wembanyama is playing Chet Holmgren. And you know what? And who else is on Chet's team? Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm sure if you watch the game at 9:30, you'll be like, who is this guy, number 2? He seems to be unguardable. And he is. He's pretty much the most unguardable guy besides Embiid in the league. I think it's Embiid 1 and Shea 2. You cannot guard Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He just decides I'm not going to shoot this play. Like that's how good he is. So we'll see. But anyway, thank you guys. Have a good week, and we will talk to you guys next week where we will know who's in the Super Bowl.
Yes, sir. All right. Take care, everybody.
All right, later.